I'm sorry, I'm late. Did it just finish?
They've only been waiting a couple of minutes. It's all right, right?
Maybe fun.
Well, what? I don't. LA, the traffic.
You're lucky you're in LA and you can use traffic as an excuse.
Put those down. Let's talk.
So I am so happy that we were able to talk about this incredible movie. I got to see it at the premiere at Sundance so many months ago now. But it stuck with me. I just thought it was such a lovely tale. And I love a good apocalypse story. Like, I love a good end of the world, how are you going to survive kind of story. So I'd love to just kick it off with asking you what really appealed to you about this concept and also your character, Del.
The apocalypse concept is something that appeals to me. It's been done really well before. Dawn of the Dead and 28 Days Later and Escape from New York and those movies that are just sort of, they're just really good. But they always have, in those films, there's always like a team of scientists. There's always like somebody who knows why it happened, or there's a formula that they need to get to, or there's zombies. Primarily, there's usually zombies. Which
I love zombies.
I do too. I love zombies when they run. It took them a while to run. Yeah.
That is the scariest part, I agree.
But I think, I'm not sure that would actually happen in the apocalypse, as fun as it is. And I feel like this was, it's strange that this version of the apocalypse hadn't really been told before. About two people who don't know why or how it happened, so therefore the audience doesn't.
I just thought it was so lovely to see someone like Del find such a purpose and a reason for like being in this town that is a ghost town. Like and there's something he says was quite poignant just about the fact that like when people were in the town and they were all around, he was overlooked. But now that everybody's gone, he's found his sense of being here. Just wondering if you could sort of speak to that sense of what Del was feeling and why he felt so compelled to give everybody in his town, the proper burial rites and farewell.
Yeah, I love that he's sort of he's kind of a loner character, but he's really doing such an act of kindness, paying respects to all these people that perhaps overlooked him, but he's really created his own sort of funeral for each of them in a weird way, in his tidying up the town. I think it's sort of lovely what he's done. It's a bit mad and perhaps a bit more OCD, but I think that's also his way of dealing with perhaps the onset of madness, keeping order and all of that.
Yeah. I just, obviously this is an independent film, which I think is incredible, and the director, Reed Morano, she's fantastic. What do you think Reed was able to bring so uniquely to the telling of this story?
Yeah, I signed on to this movie really, I was the first one. I got the script and I loved it, and then, because now that I'm getting older, I love, acting is incredible, but you a lot of times you come in the ninth inning and most of the work has already been done, and you just look pretty. And then it goes off and gets fixed for a long time, and you have nothing to do with that part of the process either. But this film, I've been involved every step of the way, and so I was looking for a director, and Reed was one of the first people I talked to, and she got it right away, and I thought, and I watched her film Meadowland. This was before Handmaid's Tale, so there wasn't a Handmaid's Tale yet. but I knew that the apocalypse, this world, if it was just going to be me and Elle Fanning, that you needed somebody who had a high visual sensibility, because I think that's the landscape of it is really important, and she's just incredible like that.
Well, I'm glad you bring up Elle, because Elle's character Grace and your character Del just form this really fascinating relationship. It's actually kind of funny that he doesn't take to her right away, because you expect in the apocalypse that you'd be quite excited to see another person. I think maybe I might be.
Yeah.
But,
I can tell you might be.
I'm like,
But a lot of people wouldn't be.
Then they'd probably kill me, so this is why I would not survive apocalypse.
I live in New York City. I can deal with a far less amount of people.
But tell me a little bit about what you and Elle perhaps discussed about wanting to specifically capture with that relationship.
Well, Elle is just a bright light off camera as well. And I had worked with her on a movie called Lowdown a few years earlier, and we had just a couple little scenes in that movie, and we just got along swimmingly in that. So, and I know we also, Reed and I talked about it, because I guess maybe if it was somebody more my age, it would seem a little bit more convenient, whether it be the romance of it or anything in common or something. It would be sort of predetermined to be a certain thing. And the fact that I'm a lot older than
Just a midget.
that would be, we would have really nothing in common in the real world, and just because we're the last two people, we're sort of stuck together. And I just love challenging also the notion of, because I think this movie, I don't know about you, what I love is, like, maybe you have different ideas about this movie, but I think it's a real, just beautiful romance at its core between these two. But it doesn't follow the usual conventions of what romances are. I mean, I got a huge Harold and Maude poster up at home. I love Lost in Translation. I love challenging the conventions of what romance is. And we're just inundated by mainly romantic comedies, and these things are just they're sort of cutouts of the same blonde people. I don't know, I'm not that.
I don't know why you're
I'm
looking
just
at me.
confused. I mean, they deserve love too, but sometimes it's good to have
an unconventional romance.
Yes.
I agree.
Yeah, because love is unconventional.
I agree.
That should be the tagline.
So you are part of another big role that a lot of people here know you for. Obviously, I'm talking about
Station agent. Oh no, I forgot I was at the ArcLight.
I'm just happy I went with Elf there. Did you see?
Yeah, that's a better Pixels. Love those movies.
But I actually would love to ask you, what was the experience like, because you're filming this in between doing Game of Thrones, where you play the incredible Tyrion.
Game of Thrones is over.
It is?
We're no longer shooting Game of Thrones.
How
I
do you
don't
feel
have
about
blonde
this?
hair anymore.
Are you okay?
I'm
Do we need to have a chat about this?
well, it's interesting. I've been asked this question before, but not with certain audience members in this house.
This could be a group therapy session right now.
No, it was a huge, beautiful part of my life. When we started, I didn't have children. Now I have 2 children, and they went to school over in Ireland, and it's more than a TV show. It was our life. It was a beautiful life, far from home, and I was made to feel just right at home wherever we went over there, mainly due to our creative team and all the actors. We just had too much fun, and I miss it every day. But you people have to move on.
I think it's very difficult. It's not done for us, exactly. We still gotta wait.
No, you gotta wait, but
We have to wait.
it's gonna be worth it, because the last season is by far, I think, the greatest season of any TV show ever.
I'm excited.
They're really
How was the experience away from Tyrion to play this, or did you see similarities in the two characters at all?
Not at all. No, I mean, he has this guy. He's got nothing on Tyrion's wit. I mean, Tyrion's defense is his mind and his get at anything with that. But not this guy. It was much easier. I had no homework when I did this movie. I didn't have to learn any lines every night.
You were just saying, but I know you spend a lot of it in silence, which is.
Yeah.
Was that nice?
Yeah.
Not having to think too much.
Right.
I've heard this from actors who choose roles where they don't have to speak too much. But what does that allow you then to be able to do?
Well, you don't have anything, and that's sort of terrifying as well, because you don't have anything to rely on.
And so much of it is focused on you floating through this.
Floating through. I was floating through this film.
Magically through this film. So maybe we could ask if the audience has any questions.
Yes.
Could we open it up to a couple? Would you like to pick, or shall I? You want me to go for it? Okay. Here we go. Someone's very excited over there. Yes.
Okay, so you have been first of all, amazing work. I'm such a fan of your work. You've been quoted as saying you really wanted to play the leading actor who gets the girl in the end. Would you say this film was that for you?
When I said that so long ago, that's such a stupid thing to say. What does that even mean? I don't even know.
You were the leading man, you got the girl in the end.
Yeah.
How does it feel?
That's that's why I don't do much press. It's like, oh my God.
Well, it goes back to what you were saying about these kind of unconventional romances. But like we said, love is a little messy and unconventional in real life. So it's nice to see something different on the big screen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's movies. Do anything. Why go different?
So let's do different.
Jeez.
I like that. Okay. Good question, by the way. Let's take another. Yes, sir, you over here.
So I just have a question because I'm kind of a fan of Reed's. She's
Reed's not here.
She's director, so I'm just wondering. She has such a dense history in cinematography. Is she very specific with her blocking and like her movement, or is it a lot of just like the scene's lit and like I'll follow you with the camera and you're a professional?
That's a really good question.
Very
Because
technical
you
then,
think
yeah.
a cinematographer would be very.
Did you all hear that, by the way?
Reed was for many years an amazing cinematographer, and now she's directing. This is her second film, and The Handmaids. But on this film, she was the director, the cinematographer, and for about 85% of the movie, she held the camera. And so since it was just me and Elle primarily, don't tell anybody about the end of this movie, if you know, spoilers, because I think it's pretty neat if you don't know. Primarily, since it was just the three of us, it was so intimate and just so lovely to have the director holding the camera. She's right there, and she can see what's outside the frame just because she's right there. She's not looking at a monitor. She's looking at you, and it was kind of amazing. Wouldn't be really action and cut. We just roll the camera, and Elle and I would do stuff. On text and sometimes off, just goofing around, Elle flailing her hair around or just doing whatever she wanted to do, and me just grumbling, looking at her. But that was just a lot of moments. She just was rolling the camera, and sometimes we didn't even know it was on. She was kind of.
Not like a lot of storyboarding where you're just like,
No.
it has to look like this.
No, and I know, and even for a low-budget movie, you sort of don't have. You need to really plan it out, and she did plan it out, but she gave us really great freedom within the scenes. So she's actor friendly for sure. Yeah.
Which scene out of all of this would you say threw you out of your comfort zone the most?
Hold on, just because you know what you do when like the director's down the street and they're at the monitor.
Yeah.
You roll a take, and then you get into performance mode, and then you do your thing, and then cut, and you sit around, you wait until that you hear from the director come, because the AD is radioing the director, and it's just like, ay. So you just so I think that you get that time to like ramp up a performance, and I think sometimes that gets too actory. And if it's just right there, and immediate, it's sort of lovely, and for us, it's easier
It's a lot
because
easier to just put it down.
yeah, it kills the performance of it. Getting too performancey with it. Yeah, it's much more casual and like life. Sorry.
No, don't apologize. That's interesting. You never really think about what things are like behind the scenes, but Reed is such a great sort of multi-hyphenate here.
Well, it's different for every movie. I mean, this just happened to be this sort of environment that worked for this.
No,
Yeah.
that's awesome. I was asking a little bit about which scene you felt like really pushed you out of your comfort zone the most.
In Game of Thrones?
Yes, in Game of Thrones. Was it Kit's hair?
It's always Kit's hair. That darn widow's peak. Which comfort zone? Well, yeah. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. That's
That's
a good
okay.
question. I don't know.
I try to come up with good
I
questions.
should have prepared. I should have had a pre-interview.
We're going to come down here. Yes.
Flying around those side streets in those cars, not trying to kill anybody, because we had to clear these little towns upstate New York were so accommodating.
Wait, did everyone just clear out of town
Yeah,
for you guys to film? They just left?
No, we were like, go back inside. Like there were these sweet, like just graduated from NYU film, and but they're just like having to like, you know, be harsh to these people who just want to go to work. We got yelled at a lot. So that was just dangerous, not.
Trying not to
that was out of
really
my-
kill people.
Yeah.
While making it look like you've got a town full of dead people.
Yeah.
That's a tough challenge right
Yeah.
there. Sorry, yes, sir, you have a question here.
Yes, thank you for being here.
Yeah.
As someone with as much of an amazing career as both producer and an actor, and knowing the business and knowing the industry so well, I actually
Wow.
wanted to ask,
So many compliments.
did you ever want to direct as well? Look into actual direction, like what Reed did, you know, for this movie, but for a different project.
Would you like to direct?
Yes. But it has to be, very specific. You can't just find it
Understood.
or a cologne ad, maybe.
Well, you do stage work as well, so is this something that do you see yourself directing in film or in TV or on stage?
No, my wife does that. I'm not gonna go near that. Yeah.
But at some point we'll see you go behind the camera, right?
I hope so. I don't know. I have some time now.
We're
So
trying to
maybe
get
I
some
should do it.
Yeah, sounds like it could be a good moment, you know, while you're having a lull. I think we have time for one more question. Peter, I'd love for you to do you feel like, where are you feeling the vibes coming from here?
You there.
Right over here. So.
Hi, Peter, fan.
That's how you do it. You don't have to go through my resume. Pete, fan. Right at it.
I'm going to take two of my questions.
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry.
I had a question in regards to the movie. What was your favorite scene to film?
What was your favorite scene to film? That's a good question. That
Um,
was my next one.
Well, the dog wasn't my favorite. Tootsie the dog. No, I love dogs. It's tricky working with them sometimes.
Well, they do say don't work
Yeah.
with animals and kids.
Yeah, I did Lassie and Underdog. they have both. My favorite stuff was all those scenes in the library with Elle were just kind of that, because we shot Violet Hour every night because it's Reed, and that light. She found this library in upstate, right on the Hudson River there, and it's sort of brilliant because if you live in a world without electricity, you want light, natural light, and she shot this all natural light. So all that stuff was just so beautiful to just sit there and just have a nice evening and have some food, because it was really just lovely. A very small crew, and but it's getting to that. The lighting. I'm always confused by if two people are walking by the moonlight and it looks like stadium lighting. You know, it's good. The world is going to be really dark, and I think that was some people's criticisms of this movie in times because it was too dark. But it's candles and flashlights, and that was like a last minute idea she had to wear those headlamps and stuff. You know, there's nothing but headlights and stuff, and I kind of love that about the movie.
The darkness was really caught my attention as well. It was
Yeah, I thought the darkness was really wonderful. I am surprised people, people
I
always
remember
mention it.
being in New York City for the blackout around 2003, whenever that was, and it was incredible. You didn't see anybody's. It was terrifying too, because you didn't see anybody's face until they're 2 feet in front of you, and you're just so used to seeing what's way down the block. That has nothing to do with anything.
We could sit here and have you tell us stories all day and all night, but I think we're going to have to let you go. But I just want to say thank you so much for being here. Thank you all for coming out and supporting independent film. On a Friday night, on opening night. I hope you come back to see it again. Peter, thank you so much. If you guys could just take a seat for a minute while we have you head that way. But yeah,
So they don't attack me.
No, clear answer.
I'm gonna dance it.
I mean, I hope we get to talk more about Game of Thrones. And sorry, this movie. I think that's what I meant.
Yeah.
But yeah, any last words for this audience?
What do you guys think of the Varys? The character of Varys. Honest opinion. Did you like him or?
Oh yeah.
Because you know he's here right now.
Woo!
Where?
What?
But you'll never recognize him.
Well, thank you so much. This is great. Let's do it again.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good. All right.
Cool.
Thank you guys
Bye,
so
guys.
much. Have a good weekend.